Hello and welcome to Honors Holocaust and Genocide with me, Jake O'Keefe. To kind of introduce myself a little bit, this is my 10th year of teaching. I've taught, I guess, half my career at this point at Leesville, and every year since I've worked here, I've taught this course. It's about 3 to 4 sections every semester. My undergraduate and graduate degrees are from Niagara University and Buffalo State College, respectively. So obviously, I am from the Western New York area. A couple of things I'm involved with at school. I'm the World History PLT lead. I mentor beginning teachers. I am the chair of Social Justice Club, and I'm working towards my national board certification. I submitted all of my materials months ago, and I have to wait till December to find out if I finally achieve that, so we'll see. Um, so here's a picture of my family. Even though I really don't like talking about myself, I realize that parents come to open house and are watching this video so they can kind of maybe get a sense about the person their student is going to spend quite a bit of time with. So I am the male in this picture. Hopefully you kind of guessed that. This is my daughter Tegan and my wife Jessica. And somewhere in this area here is our son James, which is he's the reason why I am not at open house tonight, and he's the reason why I'm going to be missing the first week of school. I'm recording this video in late July, and he will be here if everything goes according to plan, August 16th. So that's cutting pretty close to school, I realize. But so I'm hoping to make it the first day of school. But the rest of that week I should be out because the plan is a scheduled C-section. So my wife will be kind of down for the count for a couple weeks. Or else, of course, I would be there. Really don't like missing the first week of school. I really don't like missing any school. But I think it's for a pretty understandable reason this time. So, about the course. The beginning of the course, we're going to learn about basically the definition of genocide and um, kind of general genocide concepts, like the 8 stages of genocide and motivations for genocide. Basically, how do genocides happen? How do they start? We are going to get a little bit into the psychology of genocide and totalitarian governments and of society and things like that. We're going to discuss current events and how they relate to genocides. Is something a genocide does it have? What are some commonalities between a current event and between something that happened historically that we studied in the context of genocides? Of course, we're going to get into the specifics of the Holocaust, as well as the Armenian, Rwandan, and Cambodian genocides. And every year it's a little bit different based on pacing and things like that, projects, to see what other genocides will hit. But unfortunately, there's plenty of genocides to study. Required materials. I know parents always want to know what their students should have the first day, and that's appreciated. Basically, pretty simple, something to hold the materials in, folder or binder. Notebook paper is something that I don't know if it's old school. A lot of students don't have it. So if yours could, that would be great. And then obviously something to write with. So obviously this is kind of a course that takes a lot of maturity. That's why freshmen aren't allowed to take it, and there's not too many sophomores who do. It gets pretty heavy at times. Hopefully your child will be able to handle this in a mature way, and 99% of the time it's fine, but it's that 1% that people remember. So if you know that your child maybe isn't at the maturity level that they need to be yet, then you could consider switching out of the course, maybe taking it next year if they're young. Another thing that's important for people to know is we do a lot of projects. If your student doesn't like to work with other people, then maybe they shouldn't take this class, or maybe they should take it because they need to learn how to do that anyways. If they're interested in the topic, then maybe that's a nice way to kind of give them some experience with collaboration skills. So a couple expectations, again, pretty standard. Come to class on time. New this year, In years past, if your student's been here, you basically got detention if you were late, and you could be late 1,000 times and you'd get detention 1,000 times. But I believe a new policy this year is that it's going to kind of compound. So I don't know the specifics exactly, but let's say you get detention for your first tardy, your second tardy get 2 days detention, third detention, I don't, something worse than that. You have to listen to Justin Bieber for 3 hours. I don't know. That's probably too much, but you get the idea. Another expectation is come prepared to class, all the things that they need. We already went over that. Follow the rules, participate in class discussions. That's something really important. I know that not all students like to talk in front of everyone else, but um, again, that's something that they have to do. We talk about self-advocacy, and that's part of it, is to advocate not just for something that you want or something that you need, but advocate your ideas. A lot of students have great ideas that I see written down on paper, but they know their ideas and I know their ideas, and that's it. So it's important that they express themselves in this class. Parent expectations, and usually upperclassmen parents are fine. I mean, usually most parents are, again, 99% of parents are great, at least at Leesville. That's been my experience. Um, but a couple things to keep in mind. I know, having young kids now that I'm a parent, I totally get that you don't ever want your kids to be upset, and you want to make their lives you want to make them as happy as you possibly can. But sometimes they need to kind of face adversity. So responsibility, self-advocacy, I already talked about before. Um, and grit, I think, are three important things that we want to instill upon our young people here. And that can sometimes be impeded by good intentions. So responsibility, please help your student become responsible. All right, I know there's parents out there who like do their kids' science projects and do their homework for them, things like that. Obviously, the parent maybe thinks, well, that I'm helping my kid out. They have so many things going on. This isn't that important, but they need to learn life balance, and they need to learn how to um, how to organize themselves. So obviously, please don't do that. Self-advocacy. If you have All too often, I have parents email me, well, what did so and so miss today? Well, they can email me, right? They can ask me at school. So, I mean, there's extenuating circumstances, of course. They're really sick, and you want them to kind of have the materials they need, and they're too sick to jump on email. That's fine. But generally, make them talk to me. As horrible as that might be for them, that I think is something that they need to develop. Um, and then also, if they get a bad grade, maybe that's an F, maybe that's a 99, whatever that bad grade might mean to them, let it happen. They probably deserve that bad grade. And sometimes they make mistakes. By all means, if I make a mistake, have them come and advocate for themselves. And I've definitely made plenty of mistakes in my day. But oftentimes it's their mistake, and they need to learn from that. So help me help your child. Cell phone policy, of course, if you haven't noticed, phones are kind of a big deal. We have pouches on some of the desks. To be honest, they're not really utilized very often, but they're there. Um, and what they're designed to do is block signals so that, I mean, maybe your student will be good about keeping their phone away, but it's in their pocket. Well, what if they're on a group text and something happened and their phone's buzzing nonstop? They're going to want to look at that phone. They're not going to care about what I'm teaching about. They're going to want to see what's going on with their friends. But if it's in the pouch, it's not going to buzz. They're not going to have any signal in that pouch, so they'll be able to concentrate better. So, or maybe they can put in their book bag, but again, there's that buzzing, that vibrating sound. Unless it's off, then that would be great too. But of course, we don't want the cell phones to impede learning. Now, sometimes we use cell phones as a tool to research, to look up videos, a learning tool. And when we do that, obviously, I encourage them to have their phones. But of course, all too often, cell phones are an obstacle to learning. Some skills that I am trying to impart upon your student during this course. Collaboration, I said before, is a lot of group projects. not just small group, but also large group. Like where, for example, when we do the 8 stages of genocide, each group of 4 has a stage, but that's just part of the entire class where we basically kind of create our own genocide, and each group is supposed to integrate their specific stage of genocide into the bigger genocide. So you really have to collaborate with the whole class. So that's just an example of something that we do. Interpersonal skills, it kind of goes hand in hand with collaboration. I know some people are quiet people, and that's fine, but there's, of course, a time to speak up as well. And some people are not quiet people, and there's a time to not speak up. And I think working in a group helps to establish those norms. Empathy is a big one. Empathy is a skill. You're not born with empathy. It's something that you have to practice. And um, it's really important. Again, it kind of goes with collaboration. You have to understand each other to be able to work together. And I think also in our political landscape, it's important to kind of see both sides of the issue. If you don't want to know the other side, then you're not going to understand the other side, and that can kind of lead down a dark pathway. You don't have to agree with the other side, but you should at least understand it. And then research skills. Of course, a lot of these students that I have are college bound, and when they go to college, they have to research. They have to use databases. They have to cite their work correctly, and it's more dynamic than just do a report on Anne Frank. That's pretty simple. We're going to have a little bit more complicated projects. They will be collaborative, but also they're going to be expected to do some actual research besides just Googling things. So I think that's important for college-bound students. Grade scales, this is kind of, if you've been here before, it's pretty standard. On the right side are my grade scales. So homework and classwork is 15%, quizzes 35, tests and projects. Every year I say I need to take out notebook checks in this PowerPoint, but I haven't yet. Mostly projects, they're going to be a big part of the grade. We don't really have all that many quizzes. We will have some map quizzes and some other small quizzes. If you look, well, if you can't, you probably can't get in my classroom. But on the sideboard of my class, I have a calendar. It's usually 2 weeks ahead. There's already a quiz on there for the definition of genocides, fill in the blank quiz. So we're going to have some quizzes, not almost. I don't think I have any tests that are just your standard multiple choice, 30 questions. Tests and quizzes are going to be, for the most part, short answer, with some exceptions. And then we do some classwork, 15%. Homework, don't really give homework out per se, like, okay, you have to do this at home. If things aren't finished in class, they can be done at home, and that's really the only homework I give for class. Now, late work and attendance, pretty important, because like I said, a lot of the stuff that we do is collaborative group work. So if they miss a day, that's kind of leaving their group mates out to dry a little bit. Of course, there's legitimate reasons to miss school, college visits, you're sick, things like that. So that's fine, but they should, if they know they're going to miss, they should make up the work beforehand, or make it up after if it's possible. Everyone, it should be assigned some kind of role, or some kind of, they should break up the jobs that they're doing in their groups. So therefore, other group members don't have to do the work that is missed from the person who's going to miss school. So if you are going to miss, please let me know. Please let your group members know if you're working in a group at that time. The second bullet, you'll see that there is something called personalization time, because Smart Lunch has not been eliminated, but it's kind of been degraded to just 1 day a week, and I'll talk about the schedule later on here. And you probably have already heard about that from the first open house session, but I'll go over that either way. If I don't have your work, third bullet, then it's 0. I can't grade it if it's not given to me. So I'll mark it as a 0 at first, because it needs to be in the grade book. So even if you're absent, it's a 0, but only temporarily. As long as you make it up, that's fine. Late work, it will be on the syllabus. It's 30% off if it's late. So the max you can get on it is a 70 if the work is turned in late. I've talked about the absences already. Again, it's the student's responsibility to see me concerning missed work. Email me is, of course, the best way to get a hold of me. Or you can come in early or during lunch to ask me what you missed. Don't skip class, you get in trouble. That's pretty much the sum of that slide. I do have a reminder where I'll try to, and if you haven't used it before, it's basically a program where I'm able to text all the students at once and parents if parents want to sign up for that. Usually it's a due date or a note about class, like, okay, today we're going to meet in a lab so they don't come all the way to my classroom and we're in a lab across the school. Just things like that. And I only really text everyone all at once just to avoid the sketchiness of texting individual students. I really just want to communicate with individual students over email if that needs to be done. But if you text that at sign O'Keefe's HG to 81010, then that automatically adds you to the list. And when I send that remind out to everybody, you'll get that. Here's my website. If you want to take a look at that, all of my notes are on the website. I'm going to do the first, record the first couple notes lecture. So that will be on there, and hopefully eventually I'll record more lectures for anyone who misses, because the PowerPoint is helpful, but of course more information will be included in the lectures, and some of my lame jokes will be in there too, so no one wants to miss that. New schedule. So Mondays are going to be the normal schedule, just like we've had for a while. And then we get into some new areas here. So each day of the week we'll have a specific, we'll have a couple subjects that will have built-in grade recovery time. So social studies is on Friday. So instead of an 87-minute class, we're going to have a 57-minute class. And 30 minutes of that after that. There won't be a bell or anything. You just have your 50, maybe it's 58 minutes of class, or 59, whatever. The first third of class, 2/3 of class will be normal class, and then the last third of class, approximately, will be a grade recovery time. So we stop class, and students who are missing work, and it's basically a study hall. I don't know if I'm supposed to use that terminology. Everything's new, so I'm not sure, but students are expected to be doing something, because when I was in high school at study hall, it was just kind of like do nothing, hang out with your friends type thing. But I'm going to be pretty on it, where if you don't have any work from any classes, if you don't have any studying you have to do, which is kind of unbelievable, we have a free ACT prep software where students basically sign up for it, and it monitors their progress and it helps them with areas of weakness. It seems pretty legitimate, so they'll have to be on that. If nothing else, they are going to do something scholarly. Maybe it's fill out scholarships. I would be fine with that. Again, hopefully that's not against the rules. Totally not totally clear on the rules yet, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just kind of something that's new, so that will be evolving throughout the school year, I'm sure. We talked about grading and tests, and again, the big chunk of the grade here will be on projects. The first day of school, I will return, your student hopefully will bring back syllabus, a paired inventory form, and a movie permission slip. All those things need to be signed and returned to me. Please, if your student is a senior, you probably know about senior exemptions. So if they want to not take the final exam, they have to do one of these three things: A average, and 3 or less excused absences. And you can see the rest. They can't just like skip school one day. That's not an excused absence. So even if they have a 100 average and they skip school one day, they still have to take the final. So they have to. It has to be excused absences. So again, like a college visit or some other kind of thing, field trip, where they're not at school but it's excused. That's how they are exempt from the final exam. So that's pretty much it. I usually have a wish list on my board of things that we need. So if you want to donate anything, that would be appreciated. Notebook paper, like I said, for some reason, people don't bring notebook paper to school anymore. So if you want to donate that, that would be helpful. Paper towels are always nice to have. Colored pencils, markers, we use those for projects, and those get pretty beat up pretty quickly. So other than that, thank you very much for watching the presentation. I'm looking forward to this school year.